Next meeting, we should sing.
Meeting was opened at 6:01. I apologize, and the Pledge of Allegiance was just carried out.
Okay. And we sang and you guys missed it.
Actually, Mike did a solo.
Okay.
Okay. In accordance with the rate requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting of the Sewer Commission is being recorded and will be able to be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel after the meeting. The following information is also provided for members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting remotely. To participate remotely from a computer, please use the link to join the public meeting. The information can be found on the posted agenda. Okay, I will call to, I'm going to do a roll call of the members. When you hear your name, please say present. Mike Nault.
Present.
Mike DeVakis.
Present.
Brett Ramsden.
Present.
And John Reynolds, I'm present, and Dave McDonald is absent. And for the sewer department, if you could say your yes when you hear your name. Rob Alva.
Yes.
Barb LaFave.
Yes.
And Jane Greenlee, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, great. And we have an appointment tonight. Is Richard Blanchflower here?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. First public comment. Is there any comment from the public? Seeing none. Is there any public comment from the Sewer Commission? Okay, seeing none, we'll go right to our appointment. Richard, if you'd like to tell us why you're here and what you're interested in, you have the floor.
So I don't know if I'm gonna have, Greg, do you want to just
John, I
take,
also see
this
two other
or-
members,
Oh.
Greg Roy. Go ahead. Go ahead, Rich.
Okay,
sorry about that. Greg, do you want to lead this or you want me just to recap everything that we talked
No, I
about
can-
or?
I can hop in, and if I say something erroneous, Ricky, just feel free to butt in. So
Oh, absolutely.
okay.
thank you. Thanks,
Greg,
everybody.
you
My
can-
name is Greg.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, my name is Greg Roy with Dillis and Roy, and I'm representing Richard Blanchflower this evening for the property that is, we're calling it 5 Chestnut. It's the land. It's the rather large tract of land that's out behind what I refer to as Patton's Mill property, right on the corner of Massachusetts Ave and Chestnut Street, right at that intersection. And by way of history, I wasn't involved in the project back then, but a little over, probably almost 2 years ago, I think there was a discussion. Richard came before you to discuss the possibility of putting this piece of property completely within the sewer district. At that time, he was proposing a rather large residential development. And, you know, I think that it even went as far as to being put on the warrant for one of the town meetings. And for whatever reason, the applicant decided to pull that at that time. I think we were probably all right in the COVID-19 pandemic crunch time back in the early part of 2020. So anyway, you know, fast forward till tonight, the applicant has modified his plans for the property. And we wanted to talk to you this evening, I guess at least open the dialogue this evening about rekindling the discussion of placing the entirety of the property within the sewer district. Would it be appropriate, Mr. Chair, if I shared my screen so I could show you the GIS map?
Yes.
The town's GIS map, okay. Let me see if I can make that happen. So I think you have to allow me to share.
Barbara, can you?
It says one can share. Does it not allow you to do it?
Yeah, it says host host disabled participant sharing.
Okay. How's that? Is that any better?
Yep. Bear with me. Okay. Can you see that?
Yeah.
The yellow outline there. Okay, great. So the property in question is the one that's shaded in yellow. I'm just panning out here. Property shaded in yellow. Massachusetts Ave, of course, is right here. Chestnut Street comes off on that skewed configuration right in this location. This right here, where it says 45, is the funeral home. And the limit, the brown shading is the limit of the sewer district, and it's a little bit difficult to see it, but this line that cuts across right here is the limit of the current limit of the sewer district. So the frontage of the property is within the district, but the rear is not. So the applicant, like I said, previously was proposing a rather large 40 some odd unit residential development on the site. They've since, they're reassessing that. As a matter of fact, the majority of the property in the back here, the applicant would like to use for actually a horse rescue facility. So more or less in sort of an equestrian use. I'm not extremely up to speed on all the specifics of what they have in mind, but I know that it's he's looking to pursue a program with some grant money that would be available through the USDA and the ASPCA to put a equestrian facility in there that focuses on the rescue of horses. And the facility would require would be staffed with employees, so it would be a stable type facility, and it would need employees. So, of course, it would need both water and sewer facilities in it. So, of course, I think everybody is probably aware of this part of town. Very ledgy, very, very shallow depth to ledge. There's no opportunity to put a septic system on this piece of property. So in order to construct a facility like that, which the site seems like it would lend itself well to, it's a fairly flat site when you get back around the into the back there. We would need to have a sewer connection. And of course, that would be in a location that would be outside of the current district. The applicant also has plans to do a residential component here, albeit much smaller than what was proposed before. He would like to use he's actually currently negotiating with the owners of, I think it is 5 Chestnut, the old patent property right on the corner of Massachusetts Ave. Maybe that is a Massachusetts Ave address, but it's the number that parcel 31 right here. The barn in the back has been taken down, as you may be aware, and so there's land available in the back here that would be adjacent to the applicant's property, and they are looking to negotiate with that owner to purchase the back part of that, and that section of the property would be used for some residential. But again, of course, it would be advantageous certainly to be able to connect to the sewer with that as well. Actually, that particular part of the property would be within the district, but it would be maybe using some of this other area in the front for some residential component that we would appreciate the benefit of sewer. So we don't have the residential component really worked out to a point where we're ready to share it with the town yet, but I didn't want to come in here and ask and sort of talk about an equestrian type facility in the back and not mention the fact that there is certainly a residential component plan for the front of the property. So we wanted to make sure we were above board to that effect. So I may be missing something, but that was basically the gist of my opening remarks. I'm sure you folks might have some questions, and I think between myself and the applicant, we'll certainly do our best to answer any questions that you might have. Thanks for your time this evening.
John,
Go ahead, Barbara.
I just want to excuse me, interject that that property in the front is actually 733 Mass Ave.
Thank you. Thanks, Barb. Appreciate that.
Now, we had this discussion, I recall this coming up, it was under a year ago, as I recall. The extensive residential plans that these people had. And there was a past member who was dead set against any access. A lot of us are open to the idea. And I would like to talk about that more. This light green area up front, as I recall, what does that delineate?
Up in here,
Yes,
that's the part of the property that is within the sewer district.
okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
And basically it comes down to, I'm a little foggy on my memory on this, but you have access at the beginning of this property. It's a matter of, agreeing to it going further. I, for one, am open to that, especially seeing the new circumstances without adding. I'm open to adding lots of residential with this shortage out there, but I'm certainly open to new equestrian facilities. And my question to you, Greg, right now is, how many units are they proposing right now as far as additional residential in that area, and or with the adjacent purchase of the back of the other property?
Yeah, so I think it would cap out at 20, but we're not quite sure exactly how many. We're still kind of studying that, Brett. But we're a significant downsize to what they were proposing before. We don't want to go in the back around the around the pond with any residential component of this. So the area that we would use for residential is quite limited. So we're still studying how that's going to fit in. Going through, looking at the bylaw, and certainly want to do this in a by right fashion. We're not proposing any sort of comprehensive permit or 40B or anything like that. We're looking to do this per current zoning. So it's just sort of a geometry exercise with zoning and also wetland regulations on top of that as well. So we're still studying that.
All right, thank you.
Since the presentation of a year ago, whatever it was, were additional test holes done? I don't remember going to do that.
Ricky, do you want to talk to that at all? I think that he's done some digging back there, but I'm not privy to that.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact amount of test holes, but basically when we went out there with Whitman and Bigham, we basically hit every possible part that could fit a septic. And about 2 to 2.5 feet down on average, we were getting into hard pan ledge. Some spots were less than 6 inches, but the average spot on the overall for the entire property within the parameters of fitting a septic of any size, we were in ledge 2 to 2.5 feet on average.
Okay. So I'm assuming the Board of Health would say there's no way possible to put any kind of septic system in there.
No, I mean, we can have them come out. I'm not object at all to that. But last time we did this, even out towards the front where the sewer district tie-in already is that we have already, even there, it's only 8 inches before. So basically it'd have to be hammered in as it is or blasted to bring anything in.
I don't think you'd have to have it come out as long as you just provided the results of the test holes to them. But that would be up to them. Okay. Mike?
So I'm just looking at this. It looks like parcel number 32, right? That's outlined in yellow. That's what we were talking about with the equestrian barn and the residential houses.
Correct.
Okay. How big is the equestrian barn?
That is still up in the air. We're working with them. So basically when everything is all said and planned out, they basically give you a couple different options to choose from depending on the size facility that's allotted for the amount of land. So it's based on how many animals can fit on the property based on their desired acreage values. So it can be anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 square, depending on average. But I don't have an exact number until they actually come out and do all the processing. As we've been working with them and talking with them, they're just waiting for all their people to do the paperwork because of COVID. They are very limited on staff. So it's been a kind of a slow process of working back and forth with them.
And we do have a sewer tie-in on that property or right next to it on Mass Ave.
They have been bettered.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So-
think the manhole is in the middle of Mass Ave. I don't think it, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but I don't think that the sewer extends onto Chestnut at all. Because I think the first house, I think parcel 33 has a septic system, if I remember correctly. I think they installed that a few years ago.
It does. There's a new one right behind the house.
Yeah. But anyway, it's close. There's a manhole kind of right on the point of my cursor, I think, somewhere in that location.
Mhm.
I live by, just in interest of full disclosure, I live at 105 Chestnut Street, so I'm pretty intimately aware of this, this area. And I can attest to the ledge, the ledge is the same at my house that it is down here, I would expect. So anyway,
Well, you
I'm
don't have to worry about
suspecting-
your foundation sinking, so that's good.
Yeah.
no,
I'm suspecting that's probably why we stopped around that location. I mean, is there any interest at all to see if we can, extend this further down?
further down Chestnut.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure Greg would be interested in that.
if you're asking me to put my Greg Roy, resident of Lunenburg at 105 Chestnut hat on, I'd say there is from my standpoint, but I don't know about the rest of the neighbors. I haven't heard too much. I haven't heard too much about it. And I floated the idea a few times to a few people, and I haven't gotten. It hasn't been met with much enthusiasm.
Yeah. Maybe that's something that we can all discuss, guys, maybe at the other meeting, or maybe we can put it on an agenda.
Mike, no, any thoughts? Question?
I mean, I get, putting out a feeler to see, where we're at. And I mean, I'm open to the idea. I'd like to see it a little more down the road, like as far as, how much the horse farm, is going to take and, just exactly how many residential homes are going to be involved. But yeah, I'm definitely, open to the idea. It makes sense. So.
Right.
What, I didn't mean to interrupt. Greg, what kind of ledge is expected to hit just getting a line in there from the street at the closest point, out of curiosity?
I think it's pretty shallow. I think it's even shallower near Chestnut Street. So I think you're going to be into it right from the right out of the gate. I don't know how the installation of the sewer went in Mass Ave, or how deep it is even. But I'm quite sure that you'll be into ledge pretty much. We may want to look at a low pressure type system for that reason. That, we extend the sewer with a force main so we can, dodge around some of the ledge knobs. Ledge, it's never perfectly flat. So you get some areas that have a little bit more overburden than others. We're not quite as far down that process yet. We really wanted to hear your take, the commission's take, to see, sort of take the temperature on your temperature on this idea. And then then we have certainly some more work to do relative to that plan, more detailed planning, advancing our study of the both the uses, residential and the equestrian use, and so forth. But we wanted to, we didn't want to put the cart before the horse if we if the idea in general wasn't, wasn't met with your.
Right.
So,
Go ahead, John.
Rob, do you have any thoughts or questions on this?
I mean, no, it's where they're just looking to, well, I mean, we know they have plans. We kind of know what their plans are. I mean, I'm from the standpoint of the need for sewer for the property, obviously that's been demonstrated due to the ledge. So septic's not an option in this property. So I think the need is there. And as far as adding it to the sewer service area, I think the need's been demonstrated. So I'm not at all opposed to it. As far as the development of the property, that's, beyond the request to put the property in the sewer service area for me. So I'd be in favor of it.
Right. Okay. Do you have any more questions for us as the sewer commission?
I don't think so. So what would you like to see as a next step from us?
Well, nothing can be done unless the town votes to add this to the sewer service area. And I know it was pulled off a year ago, a year and a half ago, whatever it was, for whatever reason. But that really would be your next step. I mean, we, the sewer commission, and anyone correct me if I'm wrong, can't really do anything until this is added to the sewer service area, if it can be.
Yep.
But I
John?
think what you're hearing is, we think perhaps you should move forward, and then obviously we need to evaluate the plans as you develop them to see what the needs would be. Brett, you had a question?
Yeah, if I understand these gentlemen correctly, they're just really trying to get a feel for if they go through all the trouble. Are we on board with the project in general? Would it make sense to kind of go around the room and see if all us commissioners are on board, if they're able to get approvals? Is that correct, Greg?
Yeah, I want to be careful. I certainly don't want to put any of the commissioners in a situation. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but yeah, we're looking to get a read for your. So of course we know we have to go to town meeting, and the final vote lies with town meeting, and we understand that, but we certainly realize that we wouldn't want to do that in a vacuum and not involve your commission. So if, to the extent that your commission could get on board with this, we would certainly find that helpful in our planning process. I guess I'll say it that way.
Okay, Barbara, you had a question?
Yeah. Okay, John,
Go ahead, Barb.
pipe in. The first step is the sewer service area expansion, and the sewer commission can recommend approval or not recommend. And I think what Greg and Rich are looking for is to hear that the sewer commission would in fact at town meeting possibly recommend approval. Once that's done, then they need to still go through the entire process of putting the plan before all the other committees and boards in town, including
Yes,
the
and
sewer commission.
Right. If we were to say tonight, we recommend that you move ahead and ask the town to add this to the sewer service area, it doesn't necessarily mean that ultimately we would approve the connection to the sewer service. We just, I think you understand that where we are. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
I don't want Richard to walk away from, or you like walk away here tonight saying if we, think this might be a good idea to add it to the sewer service area, it necessarily means that you would ultimately get the sewer commission's approval to connect. That's all.
Yeah, I think we understand that. It's two separate
Okay.
processes, two separate
Right.
processes. We get that. So,
Okay. So I don't know if we want to take make a formal motion here. Correct me if I'm wrong, Barbara, but if we want to go around the room and just offer our thoughts, which I think we already have, that perhaps you should move ahead with this.
Yeah,
I-
I think that's acceptable or recommended. Mike Knoll is raising his hand.
I'm just, I think that all in all, they get the gist is, I'm not speaking for everybody, but we're open to the idea. I don't know if I'm ready to move forward with a motion on the idea, only because, they're in the very early stages is what they're doing. So, and it's not, I know the time frame. We got to get on that, but I'd like to see it a little more advanced, I guess, of what's going on.
Right.
That's all.
So I mean,
Yeah, I'm saying I'm open to the idea. If it goes as we're talking, yeah, I'm definitely, agree. I'm looking, but
So
Yeah,
there's no
I agree with Mike Knoll.
It's
Like,
an early-
I agree to expansion, but I'd like to see some more type of formal plans or something more formal set in front of us. But I agree with everybody that we, the expansion, but we'd like to see, pending on, what the plans actually are for that property.
correct. And I agree with Mike and what Brett said earlier. So is that,
yeah, I think that's good. That's good feedback for us. And gives us a good a good starting point to re-interject this here. So we'll I guess the next step for us would be to get something on town meeting. And I suppose there's a couple different ways to do that. How was that done last time? Did the applicant sponsor the, was it a citizen petition, or was it sponsored by the commission?
It is the citizen
It would be a
petition
citizen petition.
because
Okay.
the sewer commission is not putting forward the request.
Okay, nope, then we'll dust those notes off, so to speak. And I guess that would be our next step, here. I know the warrant is opening soon, or has opened. I think it's pretty quick here, so. So it's,
Barbara, do you know?
Well, originally I thought it was going to open tomorrow, but that was when the selectmen were meeting, the select board was meeting tonight. And now they're not meeting until next week. So I actually don't know when the warrant will be.
I think they voted, I watched that meeting. I think they voted to have it open. I think
As a-
last meeting they voted. I can't remember exactly.
Okay,
But
for the
at any
12th.
rate, anytime now we can get it going. So
Right.
we'll, the applicant and I will huddle, and we'll get that, we'll kick that can down the road, and we'll also continue our efforts on the planning of the various uses on the property with some, at least some concept plans and preliminary plans. So,
Okay. Sounds
Great.
like a plan.
did you have anything else, Richard, that you wanted to say, or?
No, I mean, I think you pretty much covered everything until we get either a more in-depth plans. I mean, granted, we can throw something together that's a basic idea, but the actual square footage and or usage volumes for sewer, so forth, we wouldn't actually know until we, obviously go way deeper into design.
Yeah, but I'll work with you, Richard. You and I, we can put our heads together. We can at least get a better idea of, we can establish some goalposts, I think, at a minimum. And
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, and so I'll work with you on that. So I appreciate the commission's time this evening. Thank you very much. And we'll look forward to continuing this discussion at some point in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Okay, next on the agenda is current business and the American Rescue Plan funds for the coronavirus local fiscal recovery fund policy. I guess Rob, if you don't mind, I'd start with you. Do you have any thoughts on what you'd like to do?
Rob, you're muted.
Okay, good. Well, I was just mumbling anyway, so you didn't miss anything. Barb has reached out to both Leominster and Fitchburg and is working on getting together with them. Unfortunately, Fitchburg is going to have a completely new person in their position. The person who's doing it on an interim basis is also leaving Fitchburg. In fact, this week is his last week, and Leominster, I believe we have a meeting set up coming up. There's a new guidance document out that Barb had shared with me from the Department of Treasury on an overview of the final rule of the funds that are available. I did go through it as Barb has been after me to do so. And it kind of looks like, from what I've read, there is money available for sewer projects. However, it's basically projects that are eligible under the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, so Clean Water SRF projects or drinking water SRF projects. And basically it limits to some degree what you can do. So our plan to hopefully use that on the pump stations, while I'm not ruling that out, and I'm not saying, I don't know for certain if that's not something we can do. I would imagine if we could do it under an SRF project, then it would be eligible. Basically, it says that anything that's under an SRF project is assumed to be needed, and that's what they're looking for, is projects that are needed. So I don't know where we're going to get the clarification. I'm sure we'll be able to, but that's something I think we'll have to look into. So at the moment, it's a little bit up in the air what we can and cannot do with these funds when they are available. So I think between Barb and I, we'll have to reach out to some folks and get some clarification.
Okay. All right, well, let's make sure that we add this to future agendas, Barbara. I think everyone's first thought was pump stations and maintenance, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, and that may still be the case. I'm just not as convinced anymore. It's somewhat specific, but in the same breath, not specific. So that's why I think we need clarification. It's not clear to me.
Okay, Rob or Barbara, what kind of a deadline are we up against to apply for money?
Well, go ahead, Barb.
Oh, I was going to say, it's really up to, this is now coming out from the federal government. The states will leave it up to the town. So Heather
Okay.
has been, needing any list if we had one at any time. We would be submitting it to the select board.
Okay.
Right, Rob?
Yeah, and to expand on that, under SR, well, nope, never mind. That's for SLRF funds, which is the, well, basically in general, costs are obligated by December 31st, 2024 and expended by December 31st, 2026. So there's time, although that clock is ticking. So it's certainly something we want to move on when we have more information.
Okay. All right, Barb. So I guess Dave might feel differently, but this should probably be sort of a ongoing on the agenda, just so we sort of keep it in the forefront.
Mhm.
If Dave feels differently, he'll let you know. Okay. Fitchburg sewer use ordinance. Anything
Right.
from council yet?
Actually, at 5:39 tonight, I got an email from Adam. So I need to take a look at it, and we'll have it on the agenda for the next, we'll have it on the next agenda.
Okay. And Rob, you already mentioned that Fitchburg is still looking for a permanent commissioner.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, well, let's keep that one on the agenda, Barbara. Next is Upland and Eastern Ave and White Street Extension. Is the contract still with council for review?
Actually, about 4:30 this afternoon.
You've been busy.
They got my message that we had a meeting. I believe me, I do bug them. And both of them, this deadline was a good one, but not quick enough for me to take a look at it. So we've just gotten it. And I need to look at it and send it off to Wright Pierce. They have redlined certain things that we had on the last one that I had used as a boilerplate. So as long as Wright Pierce approves it, the council would be fine. If Wright Pierce makes any additional changes, it would have to go back to council. But I do know that Wright Pierce is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, if you've had other conversations, but they are prepared to start doing some of their soil borings testing in 2 weeks. So they're just trying to make sure we have a contract by that point. So just got it today and they haven't seen it yet, but council has reviewed it.
Okay.
Our
And
next
again,
meeting is the 25th, and I believe the borings were going to begin the 24th and the 25th. When I spoke with Matt Corbin from Wright Pierce, he didn't see it was a large issue if we had not yet had a pen to paper on a contract, but that is also up to you whether you want them to reschedule. I know that they wanted to get the scheduling done.
Any thoughts from the commission on that? I'm seeing everyone shake their head no. Okay. All right, well, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, Barbara, that if Wright Pierce agrees to the changes that council has made, that we're all set to go ahead, correct?
Right.
Okay. I guess on that one, if you could keep Dave updated on where that is.
Okay. Yep.
In the process.
Yep.
Just in case something glaring comes out and for some reason the 24th and 25th wouldn't be able to happen because of it.
Okay.
All right. The search for the assistant business manager, how's that going, Barbara?
Good. I'm sorry, I'm just making my notes. Rob,
You
you want to
sit-
speak to it?
Sure, I can. We interviewed a couple of folks last week. Unfortunately, neither of which were, well, they would have been, one was a strong candidate. She was just interested in part-time work. We do have another interview coming up with actually someone who has some municipal experience and has actually worked on Munis. In fact, if I read her resume correctly, she was a Munis consultant for a little bit to a town. So I'm hopeful for that. It's been re-advertised in the Mass Municipal Association on their website for the 24-hour benefited position. So we're hoping that will garner some additional interest from maybe folks who weren't interested in strictly, non-benefited part-time. So hopefully we'll have a little action on that to report soon.
That would be nice if we got someone soon. Right, Barb?
Right.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Rob. And now the Barbara's annual request for input for the annual report.
As
Barbara?
always, we've received the notice from the select board office that the annual reports are due for FY21, which ended last June, as you know. And as always, my annual request for any volunteers that would like to put their hand to it this year.
No, last year, didn't Jane do a really nice draft of this?
Yes, she did.
Very extensive draft.
So I don't want to be presumptuous, but if Jane is willing and the sewer commission is willing to have her do that again, is that a possibility?
I hadn't asked her
I'd-
yet. Now put her on the spot.
No,
Yeah,
I'd do
Jane.
it. I would do it again.
Okay. And how does the commission feel about that?
Virtual hug.
I think there's a consensus there. So yes, Jane, if you could go ahead with that, and
Okay.
that'd be great.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you, Jane.
Welcome.
Okay. Next are minutes. Minutes to the 12/21 meeting. Let's see.
Dawn?
Yes,
May I interrupt?
yes,
The 11/9 meetings minutes were passed over last meeting.
Right.
Because Dave hadn't read it. Now Dave's not here, but we didn't have Mike DeVakis. So I didn't get them on the agenda, but they were on the agenda for the last meeting, and we tabled it at that meeting in the minutes. So I think if the commission approves, we could move ahead with reviewing them and possibly approving the November 9 minutes.
right. I was going to get to those after the
okay.
12/21, but that's okay, since you brought it up. My feeling is that I think if someone's willing to make a motion for the 11/9, that we can vote on them. And if someone down the road objects that it wasn't on the posted agenda, we can always re-vote on accepting them. So if someone wanted, it would have to be Brett or Mike Dacus, if one of you wanted to make a motion to accept the minutes
So
from.
motioned.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I second it.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's take a vote. Brett,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, so motion, so passed. All right, then the next is the 12/21 minutes, which would be myself, Brett, and Mike Nault. If one of you would like to make a motion to accept those.
I'll make a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing no discussion, take a vote. All those in favor? Brett,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
and I for myself. The minutes are accepted for the 12/21 meeting. Okay, Barbara, you're next. Business manager report.
Yeah, not too much on here. The first Tuesday reports were due on Tuesday. I haven't had a whole lot of input. I will get my little reminder churn going. I've gotten a couple of them, so I need to get out there. Anybody out there that needs to get their Greasetrap logs in, please send them ASAP. The FY23 budget, we are going to be beginning that, and we'll be on the 125, the January 25 agenda for the first draft and to discuss. Along with the Q3 billing, I will be also starting simultaneously, what makes January so much fun. But both of them will be beginning very shortly.
Okay.
And there are no invoices at this time for review.
Oh, wow.
I know.
The grease trap reports, do you feel that those are slowing down as far as getting them in on time?
Actually, most everyone has been exceptionally good at getting them in. I think it's just the holidays. I think normal, like they had to get through Christmas and New Year's, and I think they just need a little prod. It's been actually much better.
Okay. And you mentioned we're starting the budget process at the next meeting. Okay, I think that's it for the agenda. Any public comment from the public? Seeing none, any public comment from the commission? You guys just want to go home?
We are home, John.
Yes.
Most of us.
Okay. All right, we have the next meeting on the 25th, which apparently is going to be potentially an in-person. I don't know how everyone feels about in-person at this point in time. I don't think we have to decide that tonight, do we, Barbara?
No, masks are now required in town buildings though, so
Right, right,
that would be one consideration.
okay.
My personal input on that, if we're gonna be wearing masks, Zoom.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with you guys too. If we have to mask up, then we should just do it at our home and Zoom.
Okay. We'll let Dave figure that one out,
There we go.
but I think we're in agreement with that. So when you see him next, Mike, hit him up, okay?
Yep.
I guess unless there's nothing else, someone wants to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion too.
Anyone
adjourn.
want to second that?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Mike Nault,
Yes.
Mike DeVegas,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
and I for myself. I guess that brings the January 11th Sewer Commission meeting to a close at 6:48.
Well done, John. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, thank you all.
job.
Enjoy the
Good job.
warm weather.
Good night,
Good night,
all.
Lunenburg.
Good night, everybody. Stay
Night.
warm.
You guys.
Big fun. Take care, everybody.
You too.